Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Uncapped Podcast. My name is Chris Sands. I'm your host, and today I'm joined by a trio of amazing people from the Great Lakes Brewing Company. We recorded an episode with them last year, and we were having so much fun. Before we wrapped up, we decided that we needed to check back in the beginning of 2021 because they had a bunch of things that they weren't quite ready to talk about then. So here we are, the beginning of 2020. Well, and I guess it's still the beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
It at least takes me this long to get my act together to follow up on something referring to the beginning of 2021. So we'll just call it that.
Close enough.
We're joined by Mike Williams and Steve Forman again. And then this year, though, we are joined by Lauren Nagy. Steve is the pub brewing manager, which I feel like is a very it's not a good enough title for what it seems like you do. I feel like you deserve a better title. Can we give you a better one now?
Right? Yeah. We can think of something to make up.
All right,
but
let's add that to the agenda for this talk. Better title for Steve.
After we sample a few.
All right.
The ideas will flow.
Mike is the brand coordinator, and Lauren is the DMV Area Sales Manager, and is really the catalyst for me ever even talking to Great Lake Brewing Company because serendipitously our children were in preschool together.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us this time around, Lauren.
Thanks for having me this time. I'm excited to be here. I've never done a podcast before.
Very easy. It's basically just drinking beer and talking.
I'll probably say a lot. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I recorded one yesterday, and there was a lot of verbal tics used, so it'll be a ongoing theme, I guess. So I just took the first sip of Crushworthy, and thankfully it was good, so I didn't give a bad reaction. But this is a really good beer.
I hope you didn't expect it to be bad. I'm just kidding.
No, I didn't expect it to be bad. But I usually try to take the first sip off camera just in case it isn't, and so that I don't really create an awkward moment. And I didn't think of that until I just tried it now. But it's really, really good.
Yeah, we're really happy with how this turned out.
And I think maybe it's because I have this mental idea in my head that there are things I don't like, even though when I keep trying them, I end up liking them. And wheat beers fall into that category of things in my head I'm convinced I don't like because I must have tried some awful wheat beer like a decade ago. And in my mind, that's what every wheat beer is. And then every time I have one, I really like it. So basically,
I'm in the same boat. Mm-hmm. You know, I have the same feeling towards like a lot of wheat beers. They're not my thing. No, I'll drink the hell out of Allagash White.
Oh yeah.
And then until that was really like the only one I would go to. But then once we made this, now I've got two that I know I'll go to.
I think those are the two best wheat beers in the country right there, right?
Right.
So, and I love having you all on because Mike makes my job really easy with basically providing a script. He does way more.
Us nerds, look at us, yeah.
He does way more preparation for one episode of this podcast than I do in an entire year. So
don't give me too much credit. This is kind of like my brain, and then it went 5 minutes on the paper, and then we're done. Yeah.
Like I said, it's still more than I do in an entire year. But we're gonna shift ahead since I already started talking about Crushworthy. Why don't you tell us about it, Steve? And then you could probably tell us. I don't know, Steve. Maybe you want to do the whole why and all those things, or maybe you want to fill in some of that, Mike, since you were the brand coordinator.
Give you the whole spiel on it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the whole better for you category has been growing over the past few years. You know, lower calories, just lighter on you, lower alcohol content, and a lot of the ones you see out there are a lot of low-cal IPAs. You know. Yeah. And we knew we wanted to get into like this segment of brewing. It's not something we've really done before, at least to get one of these out there. And this was actually when we were doing the Hazecraft one last year, talking about it. This is what I was working on that we weren't allowed to talk about yet.
Okay, you were teasing.
Yeah. I think we might have had the name at that point.
Yeah.
But we absolutely did not have the final recipe for this one. We did a lot. Actually, let me backtrack a little. So we started trying to make ourselves a low-cal beer. We didn't want to do it using enzymes or anything. We wanted to keep it as, strict as possible, like straightforward, regular brewing techniques, not try to do anything crazy to get our calories low. And we started with Lo-Cal IPA. It was good. We put it on tap at the pub. It did all right. People liked it. But then it just wasn't, what we wanted to do. So then we started talking about it.
I feel like the session IPA and Lo-Cal IPAs only work once.
Right.
People, when a brewery comes out with them, people want to try them, and then they try them, and even if it is good, I feel like no one goes back to buy them again.
Right. If I want an IPA, I'll get an IPA. And really, I mean, what's a session IPA? Basically a Lo-Cal IPA. It's pretty damn close. It might be a little bit higher.
We marketers like to change our terms ever so slightly, and then it's a new product line, right? What's the difference between the two?
Watered down.
So we wanted to try to do more and get a little more body and flavor than we were seeing in IPAs. So then the Lo-Cal IPAs. So that's when we started talking about doing some sort of wheat beer, but we didn't want it to be, over phenolic, like a Hefe or something with all those esters coming through. So we started toying with this, and I forget how we decided to start putting the fruit purees. It's been so long, and we made so many versions of this beer. I was losing my mind by the end of it. Everyone was good, but it just needed those couple extra tweaks. And it's like, oh, you know what? This orange is really good. Let's throw some orange peel in there too. Okay, so it's orange puree, orange peel. Oh, it just needs something else. Oh, we got this extra lemon puree. Let's put a little bit of that in on top of the orange, So then we just kept building layers and layers of flavor on this beer.
That's got to be hard, though, when you keep adding those things in that have calories.
Right. Well, you know what? But they don't add that much. There's not that much in it. The peels don't really add anything.
Yeah, because that's more of just like the oils, more or less.
The oils, correct. Yep. And we started doing different techniques for where we were adding them. We ended up we started running orange peels in our hop back as we're sending down to the fermenter. So, and that's something we've never done. We only use our hop backs for hops before that. And once we did that orange really, really popped. And the last thing we did it was missing something. We were almost there. And we just couldn't think what we wanted to do. And we were standing around, and it was this year we couldn't go out to hop harvest. Usually we go out to Yakima, pick our hops, our selection for the year. This year we couldn't, so they sent us all brewer's cuts, which is just a little block, or some come in little canisters, and it's just a cut of a bale, and it's the lot, and you're picking who grew your hop, what lot it came from. It could be the same grower, but 5 different lots, and they're all just slight variations on that one strain of hop. But we couldn't go out there. They sent us some boxes with some beers in them, and some were okay, some were not that great. The things that came, because most of them I've never even heard of. But there was one, and there was something in it that I really liked. And I'm sitting there talking. I was talking with one of our other brewers, John, and I was like, "Oh, it's acidulated." I'm like, "They're using acidulated malt. That's what they're doing. That's how they're getting that." And we just put a handful in the next batch, and boom, and we were like, "That's it." And then it became Crushworthy.
Acidulated malt?
Acidulated malt is basically a sour malt. it helps lower the pH of your starting in your mash, of your starting wort on that. So you get a little more acidic wort out of it. So and not crazy sour acidic, but just enough to give it that little ting.
Little bit of
and
tartness.
That made all that citrus just pop. That made it all come out. Because you associate citrus fruits with that little tart.
Real
not
fruit's
totally
gonna have
sour.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And then on this also, we're using a blend of yeast with an American and a wheat yeast. So we're like cutting down on that. We didn't want that real banana or clovey coming through crazy on this. I think if you search, you could probably pick it up a little bit on the back end, but it's still hard for me to really find that even. But I do like what that blend is doing here.
I'm not getting any of that, which is good because those are the types of flavors I hate.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. But
mainly, like I get bananas okay and a little bit, but clove. If
clove
there's
kills you.
any clove flavor in a beer, I'm out.
Yeah. No,
this is definitely much more American wheat.
What's that?
This is much more American, American wheat. That even though it's a blend with a little bit of the German hef, like it presents itself as much more of American wheat with fruit and all that, as opposed to like the German. So.
Yep.
So you mentioned using enzymes for doing a low calorie beer. How does that work? Is it the same type of process for making a non-alcoholic beer, or?
No, because what this will do is the enzyme you'll use, you can put it in different steps of the process, hot side, cold side. But what that'll do is that will convert basically your non-fermentables into fermentables, and you'll ferment down to 0. And so it's just like making a brew,
Gotcha.
Just like making a brew IPA. And you just start with a little lower gravity on that end, and you ferment down to 0. So then you're getting rid of all that sugar and a lot of the calories from there.
Okay. It's crazy how many things you can do to a beer by introducing enzymes. Like being able to strip out all the gluten, using them to make non-alcoholic versions of beer, and which I don't completely understand that process either, but
I don't either.
That's some high level stuff right there. Yeah.
No, seriously. Like I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one. Because most places I know that do NAs, they've got, some crazy piece of $500,000 equipment that separates it. A separator.
There's apparently some, like the way the craft breweries are doing it, or smaller ones, obviously, because I'm sure Brewdog probably has that ridiculously expensive piece of equipment as well as Sam Adams. There's some sort of process with enzymes and doing something else that you're able to do the same thing, but I don't understand how to do it.
That is a territory we have not approached yet. Yeah.
Right. I was made to look into it a couple of years ago, and then that turned into a nope from me. I threw down my nope card.
No from me, dog.
Well, I mean, a couple of years ago, it would have made no sense to. That was barely anyone would have cared about it. But right now, it is a huge growing market. Yeah. I had one of the larger, more popular brands now had sent me a message on Instagram asking to send me some, and I just ignored it because, like, why would anyone care about non-alcoholic beer? And then, like, shortly after that, I learned how popular that is becoming. But then I still, I don't care. Like, if I want a beer, I'm just gonna have a beer.
Right.
I think I heard something
I have so many questions. I have so many questions though too. I'm like, what's the shelf life? How long is this going to last? Do you have to pasteurize it then? I'm like, and to me, I always think of like, if you're looking for, I guess it's just, the time I grew up in. I'm like, if you're looking for a non-alcoholic beer, you're looking for like a Coors Cutter or, some just
Coca-Cola
American
or something
style. You're not really drinking craft beer. But
although from what I've heard, some of the newest ones are really good.
But
really,
I
haven't tried any.
I got a 6-pack. Somebody sent me a 6-pack, and it was like, "Hey, here's that 6-pack you asked for." And I was like, "I absolutely didn't ask for this," But I was just like, and I don't even know who sent it. There was like no signature, anything. It was just a box marked to me, and I'm like, "How the hell did they? Who's sending me these things?" And I tried it, and I was just like, took a nice big gulp and said, "All right, I'm good," and that was the end of that.
What was that?
It just tasted like unfermented wort to me, what they sent me. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was
weird. That's not the thing.
Yeah.
That would not be enjoyable to drink.
No.
And it's fun to taste when you're on a brewery tour.
Yeah.
I read something like though that Athletic Brewing Company would be like as close to being a top 50 brewer or something like that in the country. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like,
well, yeah, because they haven't even been around that long, have they?
They can ship everywhere because it's NA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean that's just like something that's interesting that proves that it is a real legit thing. Do you guys see a bunch of the small places in your area do NA?
No one is doing it yet, but there are several that I've talked to that are looking into it. Really? And that's where they describe the process for how they understood it to do it. And but it's all, I think, like the early looking into it is just a possibility.
Totally.
And the shelf space is getting bigger for it too. I'm seeing a lot more varieties, and then it's even moving into liquor. You've got tequila and whiskey that's going into the non-alcoholics too, which
that's just stupid.
Seems very weird.
Yeah, like I don't.
Okay.
I was doing a tasting in a store recently. Actually, it was like the weekend before Easter, and there was a ton of people coming in and buying non-alcoholic. There was a bunch of like tequilas and whiskeys, and then all the beer, and people were just coming in and buying it like crazy. And I was talking to one guy about it. He's like, "Well, I gave up beer for Lent, so this is what I go to."
That's cheating. That's cheating, man. It still tastes like beer. Yeah.
So a lot of the places I've talked to that were looking into it were and it may go away after this year, but it was mainly that I don't know how it was for Great Lakes, but some of the smaller local craft breweries were destroyed in January.
Oh yeah.
So it was kind of like, we got to figure out some way to survive dry January next year. But
I think that was probably less of a thing for us up here, thankfully.
Yeah.
I think up here in Cleveland, 20 degrees, we're like, nothing matters. I'm not doing dry January, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Although I hear a bunch of people are doing dry January. I know a bunch of people that say they're doing dry January, and then it's like January 6th, then they're drinking,
Yeah. So that was at least one of the breweries I talked to. That was their motivation of looking into it was the dry January people, and then just because I don't know. I feel like if you're going to a craft brewery, why would you want a non-alcoholic beer?
So the DD, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. If you really like beer,
there you go.
You're the DD for the night. That's your way to still
are
enjoy it.
DD still a thing with Uber? I don't know, but
yeah, I was gonna say, your DD's Uber.
I tell you what, though, I will say, because I've been pregnant twice since working in the beer business, maybe a non-alcoholic would have been nice. You know how many dirty looks I got sitting at a bar when I was like 9 months pregnant?
Totally.
Well, my wife's doctor basically pretty much was encouraging her to still drink while pregnant with both of our daughters. So
like a tiny amount, right? Like 5 ounces or something.
That's like a glass of wine a day. He was advocating.
Yeah, you can.
For.
It's like it's like a beer a day. I mean, you can't get
only
all
like
squilly.
Yeah, and there's only there's apparently a time frame where you need to avoid completely, and then outside of that time frame, it's safe. But my wife decided that it was easy to not drink, so just best to not.
I had an Eddie Fitz the day before I had my daughter, and I'm pretty sure that's what helped me go into labor.
Yeah, that's legit.
I think alcohol was another thing that was advocated for inducing labor too.
I am
Maybe
not
she-
advocating
The
that. I
system.
don't want to
Maybe, yeah. Obviously, we're not advocating any of that.
Right,
This
right.
was just
Not a
her
medical-
horrible doctor. We're gonna take a real quick sponsor break because they typically like to follow conversations like that. And when we
like
get
it.
back, I just want to talk about the Crushworthy a little bit longer to talk about the artwork and I guess probably like your art ideas in general.
Cool.
So we will be right back.
If you haven't heard about our beer dinners, well, now you have. Typically, the last Tuesday of each month, we partner with a local brewery and craft an exclusive 5-course dinner. Each course is thoughtfully paired with some of the finest craft beer available. You'll meet the brewery, enjoy memorable pairings and service, and have a damn good time. Like us on Facebook to stay in the know when tickets become available, because they will sell out quick.
Idiom Brewing Company proudly offers a delicious variety of beers to satisfy the most discerning tastes. Best known for their wide array of IPAs, delicious fruited sours, and robust porters and stouts, Idiom prides themselves on continuing to innovate, utilizing new and experimental hops, local ingredients, and unique flavor profiles. Idiom has a simple goal in mind: to bring people from all walks of life together to enjoy themselves and each other. Idiom Brewing Company is located in downtown Frederick, just south of the intersection of East Street and East Patrick Street, with ample seating and directly on Carroll Creek. All right, so I really like this can. I like the tattoo-inspired artwork. It seems to be like a growing trend. There was something else I saw recently where that's what they were going with. I can't remember if it was a beer or something else. I don't know.
Tattoo thing specifically.
Yeah, like tattoo art becoming a popular thing for different. So when you guys come up with a label, what is the development process for that?
So for us, like big picture type development thing, as Forman was talking about the process of brewing the beer, he was in the throes of that last time we were talking. We had been done with the label and the name and stuff for a couple months already. Because like, it's kind of funny. It's a little different from, I think, how like a lot of small brewers would operate, right? If you brew the liquid and then you come up with a fun name for it. But like for a brewer like us and for, your Flying Dogs and so on and so forth, we have to kind of conceive what this beer is going to be 9 months ahead of time. But these guys need a lot of time to actually brew it and perfect it and stuff. So that being said, it did take a lot of work for us to kind of figure out what exactly we were going to go for this. So we landed on this. So first of all, we have kind of a portfolio development team that's like the CEO, VP of sales, Forman's on it, various marketing people, and so on.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Forman just contributes the talk. He doesn't. He just brews the beer.
You need a better title than Pub Brewing Manager.
Right?
He's the beer wizard
in
some way.
Master of none.
I
did ask years ago. I asked for under my name on my business card to be Sore Loser, but that was a big no. Becca was like, absolutely not.
We need fun. We need more fun titles here.
Tell your listeners to submit ideas, and we'll pick a winner.
Beer wizard. That's good.
Something wizard's always a good idea in there.
Yeah.
And you're literally concocting these things. So we were kind of we knew we wanted to do this low calorie beer. We had settled on the wheat beer with the fruit and stuff like that. We have a target audience and ideally anybody and everybody, because it's a year-round beer that's distributed everywhere we sell. But we were like clearly also kind of targeting maybe a little bit of a younger consumer, both male and female, so on and so forth. So all that kind of data, market data, helps inform the image we're going for. Obviously, it's got to reflect how the beer is going to taste and everything like that too. So although Steve hadn't 100% perfected the recipe by that point, we knew what kind of flavor that we were going to want this beer to have. So that
there was a target already.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's a lot of work that goes into that, a lot of research and discussions amongst the team and things like that. It takes all parts of the brewery to make that happen. So we settled on the kind of tattoo art right here. It's got the flavor call outs, right, with the juiciness of the citrus kind of emanating from the orange citrus heart right here.
Hold that up again.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it's definitely got the flavor call outs there. Got kind of that fun banner thing. So like you have the tattoo, the name of your crush, and an old school kind of retro tattoo. And then like overall, the rest of the look too is just kind of, for us, it's a little different. It's a little bit more stripped down with the white background. You see a lot of the low calorie beers, the better for you space, have that white background, right? So
and seltzers
too. And seltzer, exactly. Yeah. That's the big driver for that. And even just like, this is one of my favorite little things about it. Like the name, it's Crushworthy Lo-Cal Citrus Wheat. Like it doesn't mention beer or ale or anything like that. So there's like a lot of subtle things that went into the development of this brand based on like who we were trying to communicate to and all that. So, and then we work with the label. Sorry, one other thing. No, Forman, you go first because the Sam Hadley stuff will take a minute. Go ahead.
I was trying to remember because I remember there was like one or two other names we were thinking about, and now it's going to drive me crazy because I can picture the labels, but I can't remember the names at all.
I know.
Like there was, I remember one with like, it reminded me of like an R. Crumb drawing almost. We had like different labels, different names, and it's like, I know it's not, but it wasn't like walking around, it wasn't that stupid. Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about, Mike?
It's in my head somewhere, man. This is a really important beer for us. So like, I've been thinking about Crushworthy so much that probably anything prior to like 3 months ago is just now gone. Because
right.
We've been talking about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I don't remember anything. Like once we got it, I'm like, I couldn't even tell you what that first session IPA, I couldn't even tell you the grain bill. I couldn't tell you what hop went into that thing. Like I want to say the second half of last year, my life revolved around Crushworthy. Like,
yeah,
I was.
So this is a really important beer for the brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even got us jackets for it. See my little jacket.
Is that the? Oh yeah. Those are snacks. I have the hoodie
too. Money on this brand.
We made so much stuff to help support.
We have commercials in Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah.
Commercials.
I saw a commercial on Hulu.
Yeah.
My wife and I were watching a show on Hulu, and like it came on, and she just looked over at me, and I was like, "Wow, oh, okay." I couldn't tell you what we were watching, but I was like, "Wow, that's
it's on Cleveland Indians baseball game. Like the play-by-play guys will mention it, all that stuff. Yeah, it's crazy." Yeah, it's big time, man. It's a new year rounder, and like it's entering this totally, this segment that we've not touched at all. And like a lot of craft brewers are just getting into the whole low calorie thing, right? So it's definitely, we call it one of our big bets for the year and all that. And
it's doing really well. Really well.
How's it doing down there in DMV?
It's crushing it. I mean, we've
never said that before.
We ordered way more than we had originally anticipated. I mean, even draft. I didn't think this was going to be a beer that people would want to put on tap. I thought people would just want the cans, and it would be a great can placement. But we've brought in a ton of draft because people want it on tap too. It's been great.
There's a guy who I know that just opened this pizza shop, beer shop around the corner from my house, and he always carries our stuff. And I went in there, was picking up pizzas, and he's like, hey, the Conways ran out. What should I put on? I'm like, I'm telling you, Crushworthy comes out next week. Get it. And he's like, well, that's the Lo-Cal, the wheat. And then I I had our rep go into his place to give him a sample. And then like 2-3 weeks later, I went into he has like a high-end restaurant, and we were getting takeout from there, and I was picking up my food and was talking to him. And
So listen to this. The beer wizard eats out at high-end restaurants. humble bragging.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolute humble brag. But I have to get takeout because I can't afford to really eat there. And it was happy hour too. No, but I went in there and I was like, oh, you got Crushworthy. He's like, put Crushworthy on both places. We're working on a place downtown and I'm putting Crushworthy on there. And I'm like, holy crap, all on draft too.
People are going nuts for it. It's great.
Yep.
It's a beer you can drink. Like, we wanted this to be a beer that fit all occasions too. You know what I mean? So it's true, it's low calorie, but it's also a sessionable beer. It's 4%. It's super flavorful too. My goodness. Like, I mean, you guys are all sipping on it, and it's hard to believe this beer is 4% and low calorie and all that, you know?
I don't golf at all, but I feel like this will be a popular golf course beer.
Right?
Like, it just seems to scream that.
Yeah.
Said this will be my beach beer.
Drink beer, loves this beer. Like, my mom does not drink my beer. She drinks like a Miller Lite every once in a while. I gave her some of this, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is really good." I'm like, "Yeah, you should actually go out and actually buy it and support the company that your daughter works for."
My mom actually would just stop by my house before we got on here, and she's like, "Got that Crushworthy?" Like, oh, that's really good. I like it. And the only other beer of ours she'll drink, she used to drink a turntable every once in a while, the Pilsner. But Conway's, and she'll drink a little bit of Conway's, and that's it. She was a Michelob Light girl her whole life, and so my mom loves it too. Okay. What's that?
It's a Crushworthy. It's your mom's beer. You know how everything's like it's your dad's beer.
Yeah,
your mom's beer.
I'm not a marketer, but I probably wouldn't go with that tagline.
It's everybody's. It's your mom's beer and your dad's beer and your brother's beer.
I already made my mom's beer.
So actually let's let Lauren talk about how things are going for Great Lakes in this area, because it was end of 2019 when you started.
October. So it's been about almost a year and a half.
Yeah, so it was really good timing. You got a couple months of normalcy, and then something happened.
All hell broke loose. No, you know what? For one of the good things about the Maryland market in particular is that we were already in DC and Northern Virginia, so people knew about us, and people they were begging, like, when are you gonna come? When are you gonna cross state lines and just bring the beer?
When half the people here are from Pennsylvania anyway, so.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, so many people that live here. I mean, I'm not from here. I know, Chris, you're not from here. Nope. Everybody is a transplant from somewhere else, and we have so many Ohio transplants that live in the DMV that I think that's one of the reasons why our brand's been so successful. I mean, just like our Browns backers, for example, we have a huge Browns backers following. We have like 3 locations that people watch games every Sunday, and it sucks that last year when they were actually good, we couldn't all get together and watch it. Even when they were losing so bad, we would have like 150 to 200 people come to RFD in downtown DC to watch games. And even like OSU, we have a big OSU alumni following out here, and
that is really clear.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, there's just everybody is from somewhere else, and there's a lot of Ohio transplants. So that's been one of the reasons why we've been so successful out here, and I'm thankful for that. Thank goodness.
So even through, although from what I understand, even large national brands were doing phenomenal at beer stores. Because I had thought that that maybe they weren't, because I knew like how much beer local craft breweries were selling, and then I was told that like no, the large national ones are selling just as much.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, absolutely, they were cranking it out, and I think people were, not everyone was working. People were trying to save money. They were spending money on something that maybe they couldn't afford a luxury craft brand. So they were buying 30 packs of Busch Light. So it's just it depends on what how much money you got.
Well, I meant more like national craft breweries. Like,
National craft.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, the
anyone
national
to-
craft brands were doing really well too,
Right.
because they had the support of producing. For us, cans. We were always talking about bringing cans in. I mean, that was something that was going to happen before the pandemic even happened, and then the pandemic happened, and it kind of made us, want to do it even quicker. But then it slowed stuff down because of the aluminum shortage, which we're still dealing with right now. So.
Yeah, because I remember that was one of the things that you guys were talking about, that it was more of like a down the road type of thing, but sped way up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We lucked out that we weren't already more into cans.
Enough. It wasn't quick enough.
Right.
But it all worked out.
Let's take one more quick sponsor break, and then when we get back, I think that maybe now would be a good time to talk about your new endeavors into canning and your new location, because I think you were just starting. Like, there's the Beer Wizard's got tons of them right there.
Right?
So we will be right back. There are many reasons why I have chosen District East for where I purchase beer. I love the flexibility of being able to make a custom 6-pack or take home a crowler from one of the 8 beers on tap. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff do an amazing job at keeping a diverse selection on hand. You can even purchase artwork from the monthly featured artist. District East is located on Northeast Street in Frederick, in the same shopping center as Family Mill and Rockwell Brewery. You can find today's beer lists on the District East Facebook page or at www.districteast.beer. To all you craft breweries, wineries, and distilleries out there, listen up. Atlantic Custom Solutions is the real deal in providing you branded growlers, ceramics, glassware, and accessories like koozies, coasters, and keychains. Their high-definition digital printing, organic ink, and low-fire process ensures your brand is printed in ultra-high definition, giving you a one-up on the competition. We've used Atlantic Custom Solutions for uncapped branded glassware and couldn't be happier with it. Check them out. Visit www.brandmybeverage.com or give them a call at 434-286-4500 to learn more about how they can help you brand your business. Uncapped is brought to you with support from McClintock Distilling, Maryland's first and only organic certified distillery. They are well known for their award-winning gin and are rapidly growing a name for themselves for their Matchstick Bourbon and Bootjack Rye Whiskey that have both won double gold at international spirits competitions. You can visit them in historic downtown Frederick along Carroll Creek for tours and tastings. Go to McClintockDistilling.com for more information. So, if I remember correctly, last year, or a little over last year, you were contract canning because you had just started to get into canning, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we were working with Brew Detroit, about 2-3 hours away, doing some. We would be tankering we brew the beer here in Cleveland, and then pump it into 170 barrel tank.
Yeah, 180 or I think 180.
Yeah.
206.
It's a large
either
tank.
180 or 200. But I want to, let's say 180.
So basically a bright tank rolling down the Ohio Turnpike towards Detroit, which is kind of a hilarious image. And then they would ship us the cans back. But we now have our own facility.
So does that count as third fermentation or?
Right.
It went straight.
Taking it up.
It's 2 transfer. Yeah. I guess you could. Yeah.
So, but you still because I think you were just finishing up on it, or it was brand new when you were last on, which I had completely planned on listening to that episode again, but I did not. So I'm relying on my horrible memory.
I think you're right. I think we were here in late September, and I believe Forman, the can line Strongsville went on in early October, full time. Does that sound right? Hey, you don't
Sure.
Yeah.
It's seriously.
He's just
I
the pub
don't
brewing manager.
remember. I really don't remember. I'm sorry. The whole all of Strongsville, like even building out and starting up production over there, it's a blur. It's all a blur now. Like so much has gone on with that facility. It's crazy. But yeah, October, I think we were total 100% online in October.
Right.
So is there brewing there too, or that's a warehouse and packaging, right?
There's a little brewing going on there, technically.
Oh, there is? I didn't know that.
You know,
Is the pilot system over there?
Oh, there's a pilot system.
It's the most basic pilot system you'll ever see.
Yes.
I have one of them in my garage that I haven't used for 5 years.
Right. I mean, for legality reasons, we have to have a brew system on site that needs to be used.
Do you have a bunch of Mr. Beer kits?
Yeah, right. It's a Monsieur beer. Real fancy. No, I mean, we got a little system over there. I'll do 5-gallon batches. Actually, I'm due to go there in like a week or so. And I just do stuff that I know is going to be a headache for me. That I really don't mind if I just pick the whole thing up and dump it, in the dumpster out back. I did a Horner beer. Are you familiar with Horner beer?
No.
It's 100% oat. It's a 100% oat beer. And it was a nightmare. And I've wanted to make one forever. And thank God I made it on that little system. I'll do the things that I know are not going to run off well, or something that's going to turn like a brew day into a brew and 3 quarters, So yeah, I do have to go out there in the next week or two and brew on that little system. And
are there stipulations on how often you have to brew?
You know what? I don't know.
You're just told to do it.
I'm just I've got it where I'm going to go once a quarter. So once a quarter, you have a brew, go in there.
I think you have to preview actually use it. It's a handful of times a year.
Okay.
Well, we got to do the taxes on it. I got to fill out the brew sheets. I got to fill out all the paperwork.
Yeah.
We do the taxes on the minuscule amount, and it might go down the drain. It might make it into a keg and onto, It'll probably end up, once I really get it dialed in, it'll just be shift beers for guys over there, at Strongsville, since we don't have a tap. We'll get them a little kegerator or something, and they can be their shift beers.
This is like a prime example of how ridiculous laws like that are. Well, in especially, I mean, I'm sure it's in every industry, but this is one of the only industries that I hear all the ins and outs of it. But there are so many laws that there are just these little simple things that people do to follow the rule.
Right. It's weird, and I don't know.
Really no reason for it at all.
Right. I don't really understand the reasoning behind it, and I still don't. And I think it might have to do with the fact that we do have physical bright tanks in the building there that we're filling up, that we're packaging from, because realistically it's a packaging and warehouse facility, So
ultimately, it's because the law was probably written by someone who had no idea what they were writing about. Someone who didn't want breweries to be allowed to do whatever they were trying to do. Talk someone in to add something else in to.
Yep.
At least that's how I understand how legislating works.
Yeah.
Yeah, every state is different. Every state makes it so difficult to get brands registered. And I mean, in Virginia, I have to do arts and crafts just to get our brands registered.
Yeah, I think in Wisconsin, you really don't have to do much of anything.
Yeah,
you just show up with the beer and put a for sale tag on it.
They know what they're doing. Though.
I mean, I know. I'm almost positive you don't have to register your beer with the state like each individual beer. It's totally weird. I was talking to somebody about this last week. Huh? That's how DC is.
You don't have to register anything. So it's like the wild, wild west. You don't have to, anyone can
yeah.
start beer.
That's why DC, like places in DC, will get all those like whales,
Yeah.
like from all over the country, because places will just, well, either they can actually just drive to, it's legal for them to just drive to another state, buy something like at retail, and then resell it in DC.
Yeah,
It's
there
like
were
another
bars.
Look, go ahead, Forman.
No, I was
gonna
going to say.
there's
I'm done.
we did it again. There's an other half in DC, isn't there, Chris?
Yeah, it opened October-ish,
Yeah.
October, November timeframe, somewhere around there. Yeah, not good timing.
Right. But
Yeah.
an example of that. Go for
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot of examples of really bad timing in the brewing industry.
No, I was just going to say that there used to be bars when zombie dust got hot that would drive to other states, buy a couple cases of zombie dust, bring them back, sell them at their bar, but not really tell anybody. You had to like be on the ends. They were Ohio City bars too.
There's a lot of that. I don't know if it's as much anymore, but there was definitely a lot of that in DC. Like you could get Pliny and Hetty Topper and like all those types of things.
When we first started distributing in DC, when like Christmas ale would come out, that was back when we really couldn't make a lot of Christmas ale. I would have retailers go to other retailers and buy the Christmas ale and then resell it at their store. And they were charging like $6 a bottle. Somebody actually wrote the brewery complaining that they paid $36 for a case, for a 6-pack of Christmas ale. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, why did you pay that? Like, this is why.
that is your fault.
People like you go in there and buy that because you're stupid. Like, why would you pay that? They're clearly ripping you off.
You enabled this behavior.
Yes, like, this is why they do that.
Three Floyds just started distributing in Maryland, and I would say maybe half of the posts I saw of like the announcing of it from different places, that there was at least one reply of, I would have cared about this a decade ago.
Oh, come on. Ooh, come on. Now it's zombie dust is available, so it's not good anymore, right? I've heard this sounds familiar, right?
I wonder, like, I mean, that's becoming much more prevalent though, of like places that were really hard to get beer from. I mean, other half in this area is obviously going to stay easier to get to since they opened the DC location. But there's a lot of these breweries that have started distributing in Maryland. I wonder if that's going to go away. And obviously, Great Lakes isn't going to go away once the pandemic's over, because, like, I mean, you guys make tons and tons of beer. But I'm thinking of like, I can't even think of an example now. I mean, maybe Three Floyds is a good example, although they're way larger than I ever thought they were. When draft sales come back in force and taproom sales take place, are all these beers that people got accustomed to having access to, is that going to go away?
No, I don't think. You think?
I don't know. Well, think about what was that?
I don't think they'll go away.
What was that, like 5 or 6 years ago? Didn't Dogfish Head like leave a bunch of states because they couldn't keep up with demand, and then they went back in later on? So I mean, that could be something, because a lot of these tap rooms, they didn't have, and they weren't able to sell their beer in their tap room, so they needed to get rid of it and make money. So that might happen here in the next couple of years. I don't know.
Like Aslan's one of the breweries I'm thinking of. Tripping Animals is one. But I don't. It could have just be like it coincided with a large production expansion, because I know some of those breweries did have a large expansion, so they could put more into distribution. I'm curious to see how all of that shakes out once.
You're thinking about like the locals. Are they going to start distributing basically?
Yeah, more of the small local, maybe even regional size craft breweries. Are they going to have to pull back on distribution once taproom sales come back and draft sales in general come back?
Probably a little. I don't think it's going to be super drastic. I would think like a lot of the smaller brewers probably learned that there's some value in doing that too. You know, to
get your
Obviously,
name out a
there's-
little bit more.
Needed to, yeah. And like Aslan doesn't have any problem. I know Aslan, you know, I mean, they don't have a ton of a problem getting their name out, but at the same time, I'm a nerd too. Not everybody knows about them. So I think there'll be kind of a happy medium where there'll still be some distribution and going on. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have to cut your margins a couple times, then why not, you know? So
How many states is Great Lakes in now? Have you entered any more, or was Maryland the last new state?
Was the last.
Yep.
So still 14 in DC.
It's still, I always find it amazing how many craft breweries there are that sell so much beer in such small footprints.
yeah. Yeah, we ended up being, you know, it was a tough year for everybody last year, obviously. We still maintained our position on that old Brewers Association top 50 list. So we actually moved up one from 23 to 22. So that was cool. But yeah, 14 states in DC is pretty tight. The only other brewer on the list I look at that's above us is New Glarus somehow
I was
sells
just gonna say,
all that beer in Wisconsin.
like how much do people
in Chicago and Minneapolis, you know, people drive across the border,
Yeah.
but still.
Do people in Wisconsin only drink New Glarus? Is there like a law in the books that you can't like? That's the only.
I just think
beer
they drink a lot of
available,
beer. Yeah.
or- They must
Right?
for how much New
Their
Glarus.
winter's colder than ours, so they drink more.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
drink a lot of spotted cow. So
Oh no, the strawberry rhubarb ale.
also, yeah.
That is one of my favorite beers of any beer in existence.
Yeah. Beer sours are awesome. But yeah, it's I mean, helps keep the beer fresh, keep it close to home and all that stuff. So
But still, like 14 states. That's a time. I mean, it's less than half.
yeah.
See how quickly I did that math?
Yeah, there we go. Less than 25. Yes.
I guess that's a Great Lakes has obviously taken the own your backyard approach to expansion.
Yeah, and I think that's more, we probably even talked about this last time, but it's more and more important than ever, you know, like when local being such a driving force behind people's purchasing decisions. So we're happy where we are. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of start eyeing a couple new markets sometime soon enough, but I think we're going to have the problem here soon enough we've had a kind of a bit of a slowdown the past couple of years, and all the new beers that we've been coming out with and moving over to cans and stuff, very quickly, all of a sudden, we may need to find more space to brew. So,
Well, yeah, because I
I
remember
don't know if you know more about
time-
that, Forman, but yeah.
The last time we talked, you were, that was one of the things you guys talked about, is how space constrained you are.
Yeah, it's a landlocked facility. It's one, I can see it right over here. It's one small city block in an area very close to downtown Cleveland. That's an old school neighborhood, so it's not big. The canning facility is a huge help too, just being off site. You know, we tanker the beer down there. I mentioned the Detroit thing before. The canning facility is about 20 minutes away, so that just gives us a ton more room to have the canning line itself and the warehousing space to store our ingredients and our beer and all that stuff.
I mean, Steve's just gonna have to go over there more than once a quarter and fire up the
I know,
5-gallon.
I want to try some of the stuff you make, man. I haven't tried the
me
Horner.
too.
I assume the Horner probably didn't work out, but yeah.
You know what? I let it be. I let it do its thing, and it's there. It's there. I actually had Dewey on maintenance, who's over there running our canning line now. He's over in the Ohio City facility this week. He was like, "Hey, when you gonna get that beer? Or what are you gonna do with that beer over in Strongsville?" And I'm like, "Whatever you want, man. It's all you." That's the Horner. Yeah,
Oh, it exists. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it's there. It's there, man. No, I guess I'll try some next week. We'll see.
No.
You know.
You're still bottling too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Some stuff.
not a
Couple
not a
things.
lot though. Yeah, it's
Did
been
you-
a pretty tough shit.
The cans, except for Elliot Ness, Edmund Fitzgerald, and then we're still doing like the 12-pack variety pack, and then some of our seasonals are still like Christmas ale will still be in bottles. Oktoberfest will still be in bottles. We just don't. We make so much of that beer that we just, with the aluminum shortage, we're just not going to be able to accommodate the orders that we're going to need for that. So those will still be in bottles.
And that was going to be my next question. Did you at any point have to shift more stuff into bottles because it was? I mean, the vast majority of your beers are in 12-ounce cans, and from what I understand, that was like those were basically gold for a few months.
Yeah, even bottles got that way.
Even bottles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We ended up buying like 2 truckloads from Mexico, and guys drove them up. They drove them to Cleveland. They showed up their 2 guys showed up on a Saturday with a truck. And
that sounds so much shadier than it probably was.
I know, right? Than it really was. It absolutely does. But like 2 guys didn't speak English. They were talking to the guy, Brad. Brad was calling me. He's like, "Do you understand Spanish?" And I'm like, "A little." I'm like, "What do you need?" And he's like, "There's guys. They're trying to drop off bottles." I'm like, "Just sign the paper.
Just take the bottles.
Okay.
Just take them. If they have cans, just those too."
Right.
But then we also we found a warehouse in like Minnesota that was closing that had 3 or 4 truckloads of bottles, and we bought those up because glass even got to the point. There were times where we couldn't package this past winter because we didn't physically have the packaging. Like we had no glass, we had no can, and we were waiting on shipments to come in. Yeah. And the poor bottling line guys were losing their minds.
Yeah.
All of your cans are shrink wrapped now with the pre-labeled.
We have some are printed, so I don't know if you have them down there, DMV, but this Crushworthy right here is printed.
Yeah, they're
okay.
Really, most of them are printed at this point, right? Yeah, they're all printed. Yeah.
The ones I have are shrink wrapped.
Yeah, we had to get it out on time. We had
to do a shrink wrap so everybody could get them to their markets in time. Yeah.
We
don't shrink it anymore.
Right.
But I mean, either way, though, you receive them from like they come in that way, right? Even the shrink wrapped ones, because I would imagine that would be a huge pain to do.
Yeah, that's.
Does that make it harder or easier to source cans when you're buying them like in large quantities already printed?
No. Already printed, it doesn't really. I don't think it really makes a difference. Really, we're just trying to get aluminum. Yeah.
In the end, it's the same for ball or whatever. It ends up being more or less the same thing. They're either just pressing the blank cans or pressing the can with the artwork already on it. So yeah, it actually doesn't really.
Okay.
It's cheaper for us too. Without shrink wrap, add some cost. So
I hadn't realized that bottles were constrained also. Although I just learned today or yesterday, I don't know, someday, that growlers at one point also became impossible to get.
Everything.
At least certain styles of growlers became very, very difficult.
Just a massive amount of beer that went from bars, restaurants, tap rooms to literally not being able to do that, and these like places that we used to get bottles from would be like, we'd send you more bottles, but we converted one of our lines to do jars for pickles or something, because there's been so much of a shift to cans, and they were like, why are we wasting our time with beer bottles? So then all of a sudden
pickling now.
Well, there was a ball jar, glass jar shortage. At one point, I was at the local grocery store, and there were these 2 older ladies like freaking out because the one lady had the last case, excuse me, of jars.
Because that was apparently that was one of those things that a ton of people got into canning during the
canning, pickling, fermenting, sourdough, sour. Everybody got into sourdough.
So did you guys end up having to dump a lot of beer, or because I imagine you had a lot sent out into the world in kegs, or were you able to salvage?
we did do with our distributor, we did do a buyback, from accounts and that, so they didn't, get totally screwed. But you know what? I couldn't even tell you how much. I mean, there was a good amount. I know we had a lot of Dort that came back. I remember seeing a bunch of Dort kegs and being like, "Oh man." On my end, over in the brewery or in the brew pub, I think I only dumped. I'm like, I say only, and then I think about it in my head. I'm like, I think I only dumped like 14 to 20 barrels total, which is was more of beginning of shutdown, and then
where it was completely locked.
Right, but then we did our own shutdown for January, February.
Okay,
and I think I ended up dumping like 8 barrels there and maybe 12 barrels in the beginning. It really wasn't because total shutdown. It was because things were getting older, and I could start to taste that they were getting out of date. They were getting close, and for the pub, it was just like, all right, put it down the drain. Just would rather have quality beer go out than something that's on its last legs. But yeah, I mean, for us, for me at the brew pub, that's not a ton. It could have been a lot worse. I had 2 fermenters I ended up having to dump, which really sucked because they were experimental beers. It was the first batch of an IPA that we've been working on lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really bummed me out. I tasted some, but then
tease time.
Right, tease. Here's the tease. We got another one for you.
Yeah, we got another one coming.
A tropical IPA.
Like, those Great Lakes guys, they're a bunch of teases.
Well, before we talk about that, have you completed all of the branding refreshes and label changes that you were in the midst of the last time we talked?
I believe so.
Yeah, they might not all have been released yet, but we have. They all haven't been released yet, though.
Okay. So like Oktoberfest and stuff, we haven't. I don't think we've shown that publicly yet. A couple other ones, because we started big time on this stuff like in earnest. I don't know, midway through last year. That's when we kind of decided, we actually need to refresh all of the labels now, since we were moving over to cans and all that stuff. So then, like, beers that were just about to hit, like Oktoberfest, ended up being at the end of the queue, just because we knew we had more or less a full year to work on them. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, so they're all done in-house. And, we have a new one that is also ready to go at some point.
When will this new mysterious tropical... I look at it. Beer Wizard went to hold something up like he had a sneak peek of it, and it was just Haze Craft.
It was just Haze Craft.
Just Haze. Just the beer we came out with 6 months ago.
Give me 5. I've got 15 beers to finish in
I've got the iguana here myself.
Oh yeah, that's is this new for this year, or is
kind of? It was out last year.
Last year? Last year was the first year we put it out.
So we did 2 years ago.
And this beer being the Mexican lager, since most people listen to this and aren't watching.
Oh, yes. Right. Mexican lager with lime with our little iguana friend on it. This came out. This is the small batch. We did 2 years ago a small batch canning series with the Ironheart who goes around in cans at a bunch of spots. And then this is one of the first ones to go to the co-packer last year.
Yeah, talk about a company that won. They were able to capitalize on the last year for sure.
Definitely. Ironheart for sure. Yeah.
I like the label. It's very eye-catching. That green draws your eye. The iguana spooning a lime.
That's cool. I never thought about the iguana spooning the lime.
Oh, I absolutely. For the first time I saw that label, I was in the meeting when they showed us that, and I was like, "Oh, he's totally spooning it." He's like,
I like that.
All of the packaging now is just really bright and colorful. It's not. It really stands out on the shelf.
And it's the right amount of lime. So many places make a lager with lime, a Mexican lager with lime in it, and you taste it, you're like, all right, I just had some lime juice. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, this is.
I was actually at an account earlier today tasting this out with someone, and someone made a comment about how this is so much better than another brand that does a Mexican lager that's made locally, and this just has a lot more flavor to it.
This is good.
Yeah.
Good,
This is.
good,
I
good,
would
good.
even add a lime to it. I like adding lime.
You add a lime to it?
I would.
Alright.
I'm so girly.
Bold.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I'm like, oh, what?
Why
I know
are
that's
you? Why do you
offensive.
want to ruin Steve's beer?
I know it's offensive.
You know, the best part about this is this was like when we were working on another beer, this was the backup. The original
Right.
was Grandes Lagos.
Yep.
Grandes Lagos was a Mexican lager with hibiscus. And so it was like,
Which was
you know,
pink.
this pink, crazy pink beer, and it was good, but then there's some corn in there, and we can't figure out why, but there was some weird reaction was happening between the hibiscus. Well, this is my theory. The hibiscus and the lime was giving off these like off flavors. And you know, we sent it to outside labs to be like, hey, you know, check for this, and the beer's coming back totally clean, and we had to like just be like, all right, we can't be doing that. It just tastes off. Well, let's try it with the lime again, and we found this new lime supplier, and the lime we're using on this is just awesome. Like I love. We're using all our citrus now. We're getting from them.
Yeah, I like
and
it.
it was just by chance.
It's there, but you can
Yeah.
still taste the lager part of the beer.
Right. You know, and that was the whole thing. It wasn't supposed to be some lime bomb. You know, I'm not drinking limeade. You wanted something nice, refreshing, and it's got that, you know, hint of like you threw a lime in your beer. So you just like 2 limes in your beer, Lauren. You know, this already has a lime
I
in it.
love lime. I love citrus.
You know?
Like that's like my favorite thing.
You don't have to have a stranger touch a lime and put it in your beer.
Right. The work is
Already,
done.
I
for
put it in there for it. I'm the stranger. I'm the stranger. I'm putting it in there.
Strange.
Steve is
Emphasis on strange.
How did Hazecraft do? I'm assuming because you're still making it, it has done well.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
very well. Yeah. I will say at the pub right now, since we reopened, that is the fastest mover.
I
other
know
than
it
the
is
pub-
sold. It is sold out in this area a couple times, hasn't it? Maybe more
Awesome.
than a couple times.
Cool. Did not know that. Cool.
Well, I'm really bad at this whole showing it on the screen.
Go towards the light.
It becomes second nature after
Come on, Caroline.
a year of
Towards the
this. Oh man, I'm
Uh,
jealous. I didn't bring a Hazecraft over. Yeah.
I got to give
I
you
have
a
one. I have one right to my right. I haven't decided if I want to go for 3 beers. I haven't decided if this is a 3 beer episode yet. I am.
Well, if you're gonna do a 3, you should probably open Chill Wave if you're gonna do 3 beers.
No, because isn't that one like 9% or something?
There's a reason I didn't bring a chill wave over.
That's
If I,
why.
were at home, I would have popped a chill wave.
See, yeah,
But
I'm a good boy. We were sold out of Chill Wave. I got the give me 15 or give me 15. The give me 5.
Lauren wants all 15.
I didn't realize. Sorry, I didn't realize this was a 3 beer podcast. I'm like, I think this is beer.
I mean, you can have as many as you want.
I'm empty right now, so
Yeah,
I
right.
can always-
I'm at home, sitting at my dining room table, hanging out.
I think, although if we take this long enough, I probably won't have to cook dinner. I think I'm supposed to cook dinner tonight, but if I take long enough, I'm guessing I won't have to.
Dad's working. Sorry, hon. Dad's
Strategy.
working.
She doesn't listen to this. She'll have no idea.
Yeah. All right.
right,
Let's
so-
switch this baby up to 6.
So you brought up Chill Wave. which I intentionally did not put that into my beer fridge to my right because I didn't want to be tempted to open that one. Because I was looking through them like 4%. I can handle that. What was this one? This is 5.4. I can handle that. And what Haze Craft is 6 something, right?
Yeah, 6, 7.
6, 7. Yeah.
So I did some quick math. I was like, those 3 are safe. And then I looked at Chill Wave. I'm like, that is not. No. I'm not going to tempt myself with this one.
Yeah, and those are 16 ounces too, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Right? Oh, yeah.
So, okay, and maybe this will even tie into the Imperial IPA series that Chill Wave is part of. Are those all going to be 16-ounce cans, or was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
What? What is the philosophy and thinking behind that?
I think it's kind of like, think about, partially, maybe it's partially can supply, like, only so many 12-ounce cans out there. But, you see a lot of so it's an Imperial IPA series. It's kind of, for us, our specialty type series, right? And this is my kind of take on it. You see a lot of these small tap rooms and stuff package the beer in 16-ounce cans, so it makes sense for us to have our beer in that same package format. It's my take. Do you guys have more commentary on that? Like that's like, you see all the small brewers. Chris went away too. I was confused if I should keep going or not.
Oh yeah, you were.
I keep going?
I had to go.
I wasn't sure if I should stop, and I lost my train of thought.
I kept my headphones on so I could listen to you.
Yeah. So like all the small
I was
brewers,
wondering why you sounded so confused. I'm like, this seems like an easy question for
Chris
you.
Just went away. I don't know. On that note,
I felt like it was going to be a long enough answer that I could sneak off and grab the Haze Craft.
So I'm going to reset.
Seamless exit and entry.
My take is like you see the specialty offerings from our small brewer friends. They typically are in 16-ounce cans. Maybe to share with friends. Maybe just because it's kind of nice to have. I don't know. This is a beer for me that I like to enjoy more towards the end of the night. Our local film fest is going on right now, and it's all virtual, of course. But wife and I will throw on a movie like at 8 p.m. or something. I'll crack a Chill Wave, and it's the perfect way to end a day. So
I went to go see a movie a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing.
In person, in a theater.
Yeah, in a theater.
In the theater.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I have really enjoyed the film fest being like at my house.
Yeah.
The amount.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool.
Dude, the amount. Yesterday, my boys and I watched like 3 different shorts programs. This is great. I don't have to leave. I'm drinking.
We have.
I'm drinking.
We have a movie theater called Warehouse Cinemas, which has done an amazing job, like being COVID safe. But I was fully vaccinated in February, so I've
Sweet.
For my mental health, whether it's based in science or not, I'm treating that as an impenetrable suit of armor so that I can go back out in the public. And I was like, I'm going to go see a movie because they have 28 taps. They have amazing food, and they opened last year, so the theater is beautiful.
Really nice.
But it was
that's cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
But also surreal experience.
They seats and they recline.
Yes, heated reclining seats in every theater. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's this place called? Warehouse?
It's called Warehouse Cinemas.
So is it going to be all over the place, or is this just like an independent theater?
It's independent. I don't know if they have plans to open other ones, but this is the first one. It's independently owned by a local business.
They do retro movies. They do current movies.
Okay.
They do a bunch of indie stuff.
Got our drive-in. Our drive-ins have, I guess, they've been crushing it. But last year was all retro movies. Like there really weren't new movies. Took my boys to see Ghostbusters. We saw Ghostbusters, Poltergeist.
Yeah, there's we in Frederick, there's a local company called Showtime Entertainment. They do stage setups and sound for like huge tours. So they set up a huge LED wall and all their equipment and like did a pop-up movie theater at the fairgrounds in Frederick.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was fun. We did that a couple of times. You could, and then like one of the local breweries was selling beer, which was really cool. It was neat.
Yeah, there was beer, booze, and they had a food truck there.
Yeah.
So is right now only the Imperial IPA series the ones that are going to be in the 16-ounce cans, or do you have plans to put other beers in?
For the most part, we have a couple local market beers that are in 16-ounce cans, but other than that, right now we were going to do some other beers in 16-ounce cans to like have it, venues, whether it's music or sports or whatever, but we obviously had to nix those because we weren't sure how this summer was going to go. But I don't know, Lauren, have you heard talk about bringing those back?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I think once things start picking up for outdoor venues, possibly, but for now, because we were going to bring in Crushworthy 16-ounce cans. That was going to be something that we were going to do, but then we nixed it because it just didn't seem to make sense at the moment. So
yeah, we had to decide that, in like February or something like that. So before vaccine rollout was really picking up and all that. So
yeah.
So do you still do those cans yourself? Just switch the line over to be it like do both?
Yeah. I think it takes like an hour to break down the line, and then we'll switch it over. We'll run a CIP, we'll clean it, and then start running.
What type of canning line do you have?
Oh my God.
Forman.
Good question. I do. Yeah, that's. I'm like, I don't remember. Oh my God, I don't even.
Good question.
Remember.
I wish I knew the answer.
I'm like, is it a crown?
Man, if we were doing this next week, I could definitely. I believe it or not, this thing has been there. I have not been there yet. It's been there for half a year.
I've only been there one time when they were running. That's the thing. I was always there pre-line and one time post line, and I'm like, oh God, I don't even remember.
You're there trying to make 5 gallons of beer. You can't pay attention
to. Man, if I could send you the pictures I have of my brew space that I sent to Pat Conway, our owner, he's like, hey, what's the square footage of our brew system over in Strongsville? And I'm like, here you go. And I sent it to him, and it's like behind the bright tanks in a 4-foot walkway, and it's me with like this plastic chair from school when I was in elementary school, and the whole setup's right in front of me, and I'm like, that's it, and he's like, well, wait, then where's the system? I'm like, in the front of the picture. And he's like, oh, okay, bro, thanks.
Do you have a converted igloo cooler for your mash tun?
No, it's a little more high tech than that. I will say that. It's a little more high tech than that. I'm like, man, I could have made one in our maintenance shop for like $50. It's cool, but we splurged, we got no.
So the first beer in this series is Chill Wave. What is the next one?
Lake Erie Monster is going to start hitting up here probably within the next 2 weeks. That's been out for 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have some new ones after that. Tidal Fury is an Imperial Hazy.
That's an okay name, but I like the next one.
The name is okay, but the label for Tidal Fury is pretty sweet. Do you have the label art?
Sweet.
Yeah, it's like a Poseidon dude with a trident, and there's like a bolt of lightning hitting him and stuff.
Oh no, I mean it's a cool name, but it kind of sucks paired next to the other one. That I just really like the name Dank Demon.
Dank Demon. Yes.
We know there's a band somewhere with that name.
Oh, right.
Probably.
Yeah, some death metal band for
Right?
sure. Yeah. Yep.
There's some
And
death
those-
metal band in upstate Minnesota with 14-year-old kids, and they are dang.
That's right.
My 11-year-old is in a band, and her last concert, she sang a cover of California Uber Alice by the Dead
Oh,
Kennedys.
that's awesome. What's the name of her band?
Zero Gravity.
Okay.
I can suggest to them that they change it to Dank Demon.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That would be awesome. A bunch of 11-year-olds.
And it's all 11-year-old.
You guys
11
are
to-
like, oh, shut up, Forman.
11 to 14-year-old girls. The Dank Demons.
It's great. It's like Kitty. It's like Kitty, you know?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the all-female death metal band, Kitty? Right? Am I wrong? Everybody's like, whatever.
I don't know that.
I don't know. Bro.
I think you're something. I think
Sorry,
Mike,
guys. Forman's on 13 and they give me 5. No, I'm kidding. No.
13 to
Mike's-
15.
Mike's like, I would just like to coordinate this brand someplace else right now.
Give me a,
No, I
right.
have seen the label for Dank Demon, and it's
yeah. It's pretty
Wait.
rad.
it's pretty cool.
Yep.
And then we got
So-
Nosferatu too, the Imperial Red IPA.
Mhm.
So that'll be in the 16-ounce cans now too.
Yep.
Why,
Oh, yeah.
haven't shown that new artwork, have you?
Not for
Nope.
Imperial
I don't think
Hazy and Dank. Have they released that? I don't know.
Dank Demon,
I haven't
not
seen
yet.
those yet.
Yeah, everything
Dank
else should be
Demon.
up there.
I think Title Fury is.
Oh yes,
Oh,
I have
Tyler
seen
Perry?
that. I've seen, now that thinking of your description of it, I have seen that posted. But Nosferatu was already a pretty cool label on the bottle, so I'd
Yep.
imagine the refresh for the
He's
can
got-
looks pretty cool.
He's got some claws now. It's the
Yeah,
original
those things
Nosferatu. He's got the nails. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the claws again.
What is Dank Demon? What's the style? Is it, please say it's a palate wrecker West Coast?
I think so. I think that's kind of what it's going to be. Foreman, how's it been so far?
Oh, it's been good. You've had it.
Dude, I've had
It's good.
tropical. I still haven't tasted a dank before myself.
Yes, you have. Oh no,
Really?
you haven't.
No, I have
Oh,
not. Yeah.
well, okay. So we've been working on the tropical, and we are, debating between two different beers. Hops are similar. There's one hop I want to leave, and one hop I want to add to that, and I think we're there. We actually just did a whole tasting in a meeting yesterday about it, in the portfolio development that we talked about earlier. And we're close with that one. Dank Demon, we have I don't remember what batch number we're on. It's not many, because we've really been focusing on this tropical one. That I've only taken a couple fermenter pools off of, and it's getting there, and we'll see. I will have an actual taste and could give you a real answer like next week. I'm pulling I've got some ideas of where I want it to go as a fermenter pools. We'll see. It's good. It's dank.
Is the target like a West Coast IPA? Or is it?
Yeah, a little more like that.
Okay.
I really want to put some stank on it. That's where it really goes.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you say Dank Demon, I mean, what do you expect right there?
Yeah.
And yeah, and we're heading more of that. I mean, we're not going for that tropical, juicy, aromas, all that.
Not
We're going
hazy.
a little more old school dank on it,
which seems to
resin.
be making a little bit of a comeback.
Right.
been
You know, those old
seeing-
school, West Coast, old school West Coasts are really making a comeback now. And I think it's just, you know, I mean, flavors change. The older I get, my flavors change, and then they come right back. I hadn't drank a Nosferatu for about 4 years, other than a little taster when it first went on, until this year. And I forgot how much Nosferatu was always my favorite beer, always. And then I went more towards light lagers, and now I see myself coming back. And it's similar with styles where they're going, it's all circular.
I love, though, that when you have that beer that you used to love for the first time again after not having it for a while, though, because it's just like a wave of nostalgia, and just it tastes.
Yeah,
it almost tastes better than when you previously loved it.
Right, absolutely, and that's exactly where I am with Nos. You know, I mean, I used to drink so much Nos. I loved that beer, and then it just was getting to be a little too much, you know. And then I had another one. I was like, man, why haven't I been drinking this?
What was I thinking?
8%.
Right? Yeah, but no, you're totally right.
It's
It
in
is the
pints and
nostalgia,
above.
too. Yeah, there's a lot of, you know. I was a wilder fella back then when I drank all that Nosferatu.
So I feel like I may be completely late to learning about something, but this is the second time today that I've seen cold IPAs referred to. What is a cold IPA?
It's like, remember how we talked about session IPA and Lo-Cal IPA, how they're the same thing? I don't know, Forman. What do you think? Do you think it's IPL?
I agree completely. I know what you're saying, and I'm like, what's the difference?
It's a little different, though. It's a little different.
I mean,
I want to show you guys something,
I'm sighing.
but I don't feel like I have permission to. I'm just gonna roll the dice, and that they'll be completely fine with me showing this on a podcast.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know, they haven't announced it yet. I don't know when it's coming out, but I feel like I want to show you guys. Are you familiar with the Steven Crowder meme of something is something, change my mind?
Oh yeah.
So
Guy sitting at a table. Yeah.
So,
nice. I like that.
Cold IPAs are just the IPLs, change my mind.
I like it.
Sorry, Full Tilt, if you don't want me to show that.
Yeah, right.
I like it.
But the label's hilarious.
Yeah.
They showed me that.
I'm good to go on. I'm sorry.
They showed me that label today, and I laughed audibly between, like, even though I didn't quite, like, I kind of understood like what a cold IPA must have been at that point, but I didn't really know what it was. But like, I just love that meme. So like the dog and the cat in the background are characters across their different beers.
See, the first time I heard cold IPA, and I'm like, so what are they doing? Just making an IPA, and all the hops are cold side? And then
no,
I'm like, well, no, you're just making a Pilsner. You're wait, what? This is a lager recipe with lager yeast. You're fermenting cold. I'm like, what's the difference? It's an IPL. It's an IPL. And Mike, I did not even associate the two of the session IPA and the Lo-Cal IPA.
Yeah,
and then when you said that, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. But I guarantee you that cold IPA will sell better than IPL because it says IPA.
Hell yeah.
All that matters.
Absolutely.
So, the first time I heard the term cold IPA was 9:40 a.m. this morning.
Nice. I don't even know. I
mine was like 3-4 weeks ago, so we're not far off. I'm like,
I had my first one last week.
It
tasted like an IPL.
Yeah, right.
And then,
so I guess we got to start working on a cold IPA, right?
And then the second time I saw that term was at 1:25 p.m. this afternoon.
What, Mike's email?
Yes. And I saw that. I was like, how this is so
That's
weird.
weird.
Is he reading
Yeah.
my Google Hangouts chats? Like what?
That is bizarre. That's fun.
Probably.
Yeah. Taking the nation by storm. Cold
Right?
IPA. Yeah.
That's and you know what? It's crazy because people absolutely would buy that over IPL. You throw in ale, you throw in lager. I think it does scare a lot of people that aren't really into beer styles.
Yeah.
What the cold IPA? Oh, well, I know I like IPAs, but an IPL,
Right.
hell no. But a cold IPA, yum. But how is
I need
it?
some
How
of
do you
that.
get the A? How do you get the A? How do you get the A? If it's lager yeast, it's cold fermented. How do you get the A?
What's going on?
Cheating, man.
The same
Right.
reason, the same way you get the P in a black IPA.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Because nothing
Touche.
matters.
Touche, sir.
Yeah, basically nothing matters
Yeah,
anymore.
right.
My thesis is that IPA has just become another term for beer at this point. Like
Really?
IPA just equals beer.
I think for people who, just enjoy craft casually, I think there are a certain number of people who think of craft beer as IPAs,
I mean, it's only a matter of time before someone invents some version of a stout and they slap IPA on the name of it.
All right. Challenge accepted.
Next year, coming to Great Lakes Brewing Company.
And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a batch of Edmund Fitzgerald and call it extra light IPA. And it's going to be fit.
So while I'm showing things, unannounced things from Full Tilt, I'll show you guys this too. Because this is even cooler. And hopefully they don't mind that I'm announcing for the first time
label.
that the next version of Sans Jams will be coming out next month.
Oh, nice.
This time made with candy.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Wait,
that sounds good.
like you threw candy in there? What type of candy?
Who's asking? Yes.
Not the TTB.
Right.
Pineapple rings and mango power belts.
What the hell
Nice.
are mango power belts?
I mean, it's basically like a mango fruit by the foot.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
And
Because there are surprisingly few mango candies.
really?
I
Yeah,
can't think
like
of any
you would-
off the top of my head. The
Well,
only thing I
you
can
gotta
think
go
of.
to like Indian grocery stores, You go to the Asian
But
grocery store.
But they almost all have spice added to them.
Oh,
So,
you're
like-
totally
like
right.
the-
They do.
Like the peach rings, they have mango ones, but they're mango habanero. And they all have like some other flavor mixed with them. There are hardly any mango candies.
What are those
Man.
one things? They're like now and laters, but it's gonna drive me crazy.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't think those would. What's that?
Mambas?
Yes. that's what-
Mambas,
yes.
yes. Don't they have mango
Yeah.
mambas?
You eat them with the paper
Okay.
on?
So Full Tilt learned the hard way when they made one with pink Starburst that individually wrapped candies do not work well for making beer, because then you spend hours and hours and hours and a lot of hand
Unwrapping.
cramping unwrapping all of the
This is worth it.
candies. So I didn't even bother suggesting those. Also, you probably can't buy them in bulk.
Where are you guys putting those in? I mean, like in the boil?
Who's
in
asking?
Whirlpool? This guy.
Fermenter.
Just a guy.
Post fermentation.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, it's basically like how you would make a heavily fruited sour, where you just pump in a
Right,
bunch
yeah,
of stuff into the beer afterwards.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's still fermenting
right.
a little bit. It's conditioned on I think it would be the proper term.
Right. Yes. It's conditioned on candy.
But really,
That's
it's just
cool. I like that.
fruit. It's the fruits used to wink.
Not all that coating of sugar on it.
Yeah, it's
No.
they are using traditional approved brewing methods to make these beers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they are. We all are. We all are.
Every single brewery.
Yep. We all do.
So when's this tropical IPA you keep talking about coming out?
End of August. Ideally, we'll see. It might be a kind of gradual rollout type thing,
Okay.
but it'll definitely be up here. We'll have it in Ohio by Labor Day weekend, pretty much.
Will
Yeah.
it be
TBD
coming,
on the rest, yeah. But
when will you be making a cold IPA?
Forman.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it, Forman.
5 gallons of it?
Yeah, 5 gallons, right?
Do it. I want to try it. Yeah.
Started talking about tropical IPA, my eyes started twitching. I'm like, huh? We're back to Crushworthy. Tropical IPA is my new Crushworthy.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for in 2020? We'll do this in the order you are in
In
the
2020?
squares. 2021. I mean, I don't know when it is. Steve,
We made
Right.
it out.
what are you most excited about for this year?
Vacation? Naps? No. You mean at the brewery?
I mean, it could
for
be at the
summer to
brewery,
roll
it could be
around.
anything in general.
I mean, I'm excited for summer. I'm excited for, people getting shots, people coming back out a little bit, having a little more leniency. I miss seeing all the people and the regulars that were at the bar all the time. And we've got a couple coming in here and there, but it's like, hey pal, how you doing? Good to see you.
One thing I hate right now is the awkward interactions of figuring out where people's comfort levels are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, you just got to go with your own. I mean,
Yeah.
not go with your own, but stand back. Let them come to you.
Yeah.
And you say, "Whoa, bro."
I just kind of announce if someone's
I am
walking towards me.
vaccinated.
Yeah.
But I had a friend who I was like, "Hey, buddy," but I see him all the time.
I had
And
someone
he
go to
came
shake
hug
my
me.
hand.
Yeah,
Well, that's why I had
he-
someone do the shake hug thing the other day, and it didn't
Shit,
bother me
yeah.
because, like I said, I have an impenetrable suit of armor right now, whether that's backed in science or not.
Yeah, great.
But it felt jarring. It was
Yeah,
weird.
no, I had somebody shook my hand about a month ago, and I was
What are you
like,
doing touching me?
Yeah, I was totally creeped out. Totally.
We don't do that.
And I'm like, man, why do I feel so weird? Like, are we all going to have these complexes going on through our lives now?
That's something like I was thinking about recently is like we've been in this for so long now. So like a year ago, getting used to how life has been in the last year was weird and like something you had to get used to. Is going back going to feel the same way? Like, is it going to feel as weird? And like, I personally can't wait.
I've had the same thoughts. And I honestly, I don't think it will go back to that way. We all have built into us now this weird little standoffish.
Yeah, like everyone's out to kill us with their germs.
Yeah. Oh, your touch is death. Yeah, it's like that. And it's weird. And I mean, I just want to be comfortable having a table 2 feet from me, my back to back with another chair at a bar. Or I want to be comfortable sitting next to a guy at a bar and having a beer. I mean, that's probably the thing I miss the most is just going and having a beer and sitting there and there's a stranger on either side,
And not think like, is that person going to kill me?
Yeah. Am I going to be weirded out? I mean, I see somebody sneeze and I'm like, uh-oh, I mean,
Coughing's not allowed.
yeah, and it's like, oh, but then I do it and I'm like, no, it's just allergies, I swear.
Well, considering you guys got like a foot of snow a week ago, you're probably a month or so behind us, but allergies have been horrendous in the last couple of weeks. So I've been coughing and sneezing constantly.
Right.
And you definitely see people glaring at you.
Just started this past week up here.
They spread.
I never had allergies until I moved to Maryland. Never.
Oh, they're horrible here. It's so bad. Pollen is like I walk out and my car will have been clean like when I went to bed and I come out and there's an inch of pollen on it. It's like instead of being green, it's now yellow.
Oh yeah. We've got trees above my house and it's like we get
going.
this yellow coat over our cars. I have to clean my windshields on the way to work at 7 a.m. because they're covered in freaking pollen.
All right, Steve, I don't even remember what your answer was at this point, but we'll move on to Lauren. What are you looking forward to in 2021?
Bars.
I
Shot.
start hugging people again because I'll have my second shot. So I'm just going to go on a hugging spree and just start hugging people. And then
which one did you get?
I got the Pfizer.
Okay. So Beth wasn't Beth didn't feel great, but she wasn't horrible after the second one. And Beth is the name of my wife. I had the Moderna shot the day after my second one. I was pretty sure I was going to die.
Oh,
yeah.
I got Moderna. I got my first.
Moderna. I think Moderna kicks your butt a little bit more than Pfizer. That's what it sounds.
That just means it works better, guys. It just means it works better.
Well, so my sister works for a vaccine company, and she said that the experts that she works with have said, and it's not like the opposite, where if you don't have a huge response doesn't mean that you're not prepared. But if you have a huge immune response, it's evidence that your immune system is even more prepared to deal with it if it's introduced the real thing.
Right.
And mine is 100% on guard because I did not get out of bed the day after I got my second shot.
I'm next Wednesday. I'm 1 week from today. I'm gonna say goodbye to the outside world for 24 hours.
Just take Thursday off.
I'm working from home, and then if I'm calling up, I'm Moderna. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm 3 weeks in. Next week's dose 2.
And the weirdest thing is, like, I'm sitting there, every inch of my body hurting, sweating while shivering. I have the first fever I've ever had that I can remember in my lifetime, knowing I'm completely healthy, but I feel like I'm going to die. And then I woke up the next day like a little bit tired, but felt like $1 million.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
I'm down.
So Lauren is going.
Chris,
Lauren is going on a. What's that? Thanks for the paranoia.
Thanks for the paranoia.
Welcome. You're welcome. That's just one of the services I provide.
Cool.
So Lauren is going on a hugging spree. Mike, what are you looking forward to?
I look forward to, doing some of the basic stuff. Like yesterday, I went to Noble Beast, a small tap room here across the way, and with 2 people I trust and who have been vaccinated and all that, and saw the brewer, and we were chatting and stuff, and I was like, this feels good. This feels normal and everything. It's like I had seen him a couple times over the past year, but it was like just me with the barriers and stuff. And now like I had 2 other people who, are also safe and stuff like that. And just having those casual, just bumping into people, I think will be really nice. You know what I mean? As opposed to like every meetup is very controlled and pre-planned and stuff like that,
I read this really. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, not thinking for the next 5-7 days, like, what if that person was infected?
Did he get me sick?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I read this really intriguing. I read this really intriguing article about how like entire segments of friends have been lost, where like you may have stayed in touch with like your really close friends, but there's this whole category of like casual friends, or maybe even people that you were good friends with, but they were situational, where it's because you always saw them at this one place that you went to, and but you didn't like you weren't friends to the point where you would like, hey, let's schedule a Zoom happy hour. Or
How many people lost their work wife during this? You know, you had your work wife. Yeah, we got divorced. COVID. It ended up.
I've disliked almost all of my coworkers for quite some time, so I didn't lose anyone during that break. I'm kidding for any of you that listen.
Like a year and a half. I feel like it's been that long.
I'm looking forward to the sales team coming back to the brewery in 2021 That is something on my list.
My wife
we get to hang out.
and
It's an excuse for me to go out and do stuff.
my wife and I both got our second shots the same week. So it was like once we were 3 weeks removed from that second shot, we went out to a brewery. That night they shut down because one of the employees tested positive.
Oh, no.
We're sitting there and they closed early. I'm like, are you kidding me?
We're cool.
Yeah, I'm good, but this sucks.
You guys are good.
We're gonna drink.
We can stay, right? Yeah.
I've got my card.
Look at this. Yeah.
People are gonna start wearing it. I'm gonna get it laminated and get like a little lanyard and wear it.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you guys want to cover?
I think we got it.
I feel like I hit all of your bullet points. I don't want to get scolded afterwards. I'm not.
No, whatever, man. I think Great Lakes does hold. Do we hold the record for your longest podcast?
Oh yeah.
No, you wait. Actually, the first one may have. We talked
first
forever.
One, I think this is longer than the first one.
Well, then you don't hold the record then, because I've had some over 2 hours, and I got to be honest. The only reason that I'm kind of wrapping it up is I have to go to the bathroom.
I have it.
Fair enough. So do I.
I'll let you off the hook. I got a thing at 6. So let's blame it on me.
I mean, Mike told me that he had a hard out at 6 o'clock.
Well, I have to go pick up a kid from daycare, so
There we go. We all got excuses.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm fine.
I
would love to keep talking to you all, but thanks a lot, Mike and Laura. Lauren, we need to end this because of your poor planning.
Right? Thanks a lot. I'm only on 14 of 15 of Give Me 5.
Yeah. How's he supposed to finish that 15 pack?
Yeah, that was my goal.
I believe in you. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have to do a round 3 then, where I prepare better. Mike and Lauren do a better job of scheduling their time so that you can get through 15 beers. So maybe next year sometime we'll do a round 3.
Maybe next year, Chris,
Steve's easy.
We can take you to Cleveland and we can do a podcast in Cleveland.
I would love that. That would be awesome because I've never been to a brewery, which I have done in the past. So I'm fully on board with that.
Right? Yeah.
But thank you again for your time. It was just as fun as last time. I love your beer, and let's plan round 3 in person in Cleveland.
Sounds
and,
good.
Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Chris.
See you later.